Kilmar Ábrego García, the Maryland man sent to the infamous El Salvadoran prison known as CECOT, is speaking out about his experience through his lawyers. And it's about as terrible as you could imagine. In court documents filed on Wednesday, Garcia claimed that he was both physically and psychologically tortured during the 3 months he spent in Salvadoran custody. While being held, Garcia and 20 other men were forced to kneel approximately from 9 p.m. to 6 a.m., according to court papers filed by his lawyers in the federal district court in Maryland. So basically, you're not allowed to really sleep when you're sitting there kneeling for that amount of time. Well, what happens if you fall over? You get beaten by the guards. Not only that, but detainees were denied access to the bathroom during those times, and as such, of course, Garcia said that he was forced to soil himself, which is dehumanizing treatment, and that is the point. That is really the point about all this. Not only that, but detainees were held in an overcrowded cell with no windows, with bright lights on for 24 hours a day, which again is torture, confined to metal bunk beds with no mattresses. Again, all of this is torture. Okay, straight up. It is all torture. It is all stuff that should be absolutely illegal, which is, of course, why Trump sought out CECOT in the first place. Okay, that is not an accident. That is by design, sending them to a foreign concentration camp that will, torture you. It will torture you. That is the point. If you send someone to this place, you are saying, I can't wait for them to torture you. Yeah. Now, as a result of this physical and psychological torture, his lawyers say that he lost about 31 pounds during the first 2 weeks of his confinement. And this is the conditions that he and other migrants are being held in. Migrants who, in a lot of cases, didn't even commit crimes, but even if they had, this is torture. No one deserves to be treated like this. They're not even being treated as human beings anymore. Okay? This is not how you treat people. Now, later, his lawyers write, he and 4 others ended up being transferred to a different part of the prison. Why? Well, it turns out pressure. Because in this different part of the prison, they were photographed with mattresses, better food, and these photos, of course, appeared to be staged in order to try to document alleged improved conditions. And I mentioned this is a result of all the political pressure, the media attention, all of that. So if you didn't think the protests and pressure were effective at all, that they were doing nothing, well, you're wrong. This is a result of that. And so I believe that all of the attention and the focus on Ábrego García and the attempts to try to bring him back home, I think they saved his life. Remember, this prison is for disappearing people. That's it. And odds are that he would have been disappeared if people had not been paying attention. That said, he is alive, but he still went through literal hell. I mean, these conditions are hellish on purpose. Now, the filings also noted that officials within the prison had even acknowledged that, because so the big thing that the administration is claiming is, he's a dangerous MS-13 gang member. But prison guards were like, these aren't gang tattoos. This guy's not a gang member. In fact, prison officials explicitly acknowledged that plaintiff Ábrego Garcia's tattoos were not gang-related, telling him, quote, "Your tattoos are fine," per the filing. And they even had kept him in a cell separate from those accused of gang membership. Now, if he was part of a gang, why would they do that? And why would they do this next part? Whereas, where they would threaten to move him into those cells with the gang members whom the officials said would tear him apart. Why threaten to do that if he was such a dangerous gang member? So, look, he's not part of the gang, never was, and they knew it, but they didn't care. They didn't care. They actually used that against him. They tortured him. And that right there shows you that the cruelty here is the point. It always was. That said, while he's no longer in CECOT, he's not out of danger. He's still in danger. Look, the Trump administration, or regime, I should say, was forced to bring him back by order of a judge. And in what is absolutely a petty and vindictive move, that same administration then accused him of gang membership, which was debunked, and also accused him of human smuggling, which is pretty ironic, okay? Because what the Trump administration is doing by sending, in many different cases, innocent people, yes, most of the people that have been deported and sent to these places, these torture facilities, had no criminal records here or anywhere else. No criminal records, no convictions, not even being accused of crimes. They sent them there anyway. That is human trafficking that this administration, this regime is doing. Now, the Trump Injustice Department is now trying to get this guy to stand trial for these phony charges. Abrego Garcia has pleaded not guilty to the smuggling charges, which attorneys have characterized as an attempt to justify the administration's mistake in deporting him after the fact. Remember, this regime actually admitted that, oh yeah, we sent him there by mistake. But, oh, we're not going to get him back because, oh, that's out of our hands, except that that was a lie too. Everything this administration is saying is a lie. They are lying to the American people. Bald-faced lies. There is no one in this administration that tells the truth. No one. They're all lying to cover up their inhumanity, their torture of innocent people. That is what they're doing. Look, after this is all said and done, I swear to God, if the Democrats say something like, we only look forward, not backwards, in punishing the people who made this happen, assuming they ever get back into power, then, they're a lost cause. It would be comical if that were to happen, if it weren't so horrific, allowing the people that let these innocent people go get sent to another country to get tortured if they didn't hold these people accountable. It's ridiculous. Now, look, the other thing too is this administration is trying desperately to try to pin him with something because, he's got to be guilty of something, right? We just cannot admit that we are wrong. Just can't do it. Not at all. Not only that, but they're threatening to send him to another country, if not El Salvador, if he is released from jail before he's even allowed to stand trial. So they're openly admitting that they plan on violating his due process. If he gets let out of jail, ICE is getting ready to abduct him and send him off who knows where. Who knows where? The shit that they're doing to this man is not only illegal, but it's absolutely disgusting. It is cruelty for cruelty's sake. And if they can do it to him, they can do it to anybody. And they plan on doing it to other people. That's what they want. This doesn't matter. The law does not matter to them. They are Nazis. This is what Nazis do. Have you got it yet? Sending innocent people to these concentration torture camps on BS charges. Speaking of camps, by the way, now they're building them in the United States. Alligator Alcatraz, which is more like alligator Auschwitz. Now, a Justice Department lawyer, Jonathan Gein, told a federal judge in Maryland that this administration would deport Abrego Garcia not to El Salvador, but to another third country. I don't know, maybe South Sudan, which contradicts statements from Attorney General Pam Bondi that he would be sent back to El Salvador. So they don't even know what they're doing, which again is a hallmark of fascism. Yes, they are cruel, but not especially smart. Amid the confusion, Garcia's lawyers requested that their client remain in criminal custody, fearing that if he were released, ICE would come in and try to deport him. Exactly. Upcoming hearings in both Maryland and Tennessee will help decide whether Abrego Garcia will be able to remain in the U.S. and be released from jail. I hope he gets released and he can go back to his life. But I am afraid that no matter what a judge says, I still think ICE, it's very likely they might come back and kidnap him and then disappear him to another torture dungeon altogether. And they're going to make sure that he doesn't come back out. That's what I'm afraid of. And there's reason to be afraid. This regime is cruel and lawless. The last thing that they want is for someone like Garcia to come in and be able to share his story. In fact, right after this, by the way, DHS spokesperson Tricia McLaughlin put out this completely disgusting statement. Once again, she says, the media is falling all over themselves to defend Kilmar Ábrego Garcia. The media's sympathetic narrative about this criminal illegal gang member, which again, not true, has completely fallen apart. Yet they continue to peddle his sob story. He was tortured. We hear far too much about gang members and criminals, which he's not, false sob stories, and not enough about their victims. Who did Kilmar Ábrego Garcia victimize? Who did he victimize? No, that statement right there from Tricia McLaughlin, it reeks of desperation because they know what they're doing is illegal. They are breaking laws and they don't care. According to Whistleblower, top DOJ officials, including Trump's former personal defense lawyer, intended to ignore court orders and even planned to lie to federal judges. That whistleblower, Erez Reveni, actually worked on Garcia's case. He said that Emil Bove, is the top lawyer, okay, in a March meeting stated that the DOJ would need to consider telling the courts to, quote, F you, and to ignore any orders to stop the deportation of migrants to this torture facility. He was fired, by the way, Reveni. For complaining about that and saying, hey, maybe we should listen to, the law and the courts and stuff. Maybe we should do that. He was fired. Retaliation. Absolute retaliation. He says he also had refused orders from leadership to file a legal argument in court that he believed would be, quote, contrary to law, frivolous, and untrue. Look, they don't care about the rule of law, guys. Reveni's attorneys wrote in a letter last month that, quote, he tried to warn his clients and other agencies not to engage in illegal conduct and was thwarted, threatened, fired, and publicly disparaged for both doing his job and telling the truth to the court. And there it is. I mean, look, anyone who's trying to claim that this administration is not fascist is lying to you. Just like this administration lies to you. It's lying to all of us. This was never about law and order, never about the Constitution, never about going after criminals. No, they're breaking laws that they don't like in order to punish their political enemies, people they don't like, while elevating their friends. That's what this criminal, lawless regime is doing every single day. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like, share, subscribe with the bell icon in order to get notified whenever a new video is released. And if you want to support independent, progressive media through this difficult time where it seems like everybody is shutting down, you can become a member on our YouTube page, you can become a subscriber on Facebook, or you can go to my Patreon. It's patreon.com/Jeff Waldorf. Thank you.